Former professional basketball player Dwyane Tyrone Wade Jr., known as D-Wade or Flash, was born on January 17, 1982, in Chicago, Illinois. Shortly after his birth, Wade's parents separated, and his mother, Yolinda, was given custody of the two younger children, Wade and his 5-year-old sister, Tragil. The family struggled financially and was eventually forced to go on welfare. Wade's life took a turn for the better when, at 8 years old, he was tricked by his sister. Tragil told him that they were going to the movies, but they instead went to a different South Side neighborhood. Tragil returned home, leaving Wade to stay with his father, who had remarried. The move changed the course of Wade's life, leading him away from the crime-ridden surroundings of his early years. A year later, Wade's father moved the family to Robbins, Illinois, a South Chicago suburb. Wade's new environment allowed him to play basketball outside with his stepbrothers, new friends, and father, who coached part-time at a local recreational center. It was here that Wade attended Harold L. Richards High School in Oak Lawn, where his older stepbrother Demetrius had already made a name for himself as the star of the basketball team. Initially, Wade played football as a wide receiver in high school, but a growth spurt forced Wade to realize where he should focus his athletic abilities. During his junior year, he averaged 20.7 points and 7.6 rebounds per game, making a name for himself throughout Chicago. His success continued into his senior year. At that time, he was averaging 27 points and 11 rebounds per game. However, due to his poor grades, he was only recruited by 3 college basketball programs. Wade chose to attend Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Although he was ineligible to play due to low academic scores, head coach Tom Crean took him on as a partial qualifier. This meant that although he had to sit out the 2000 to 2001 season, Wade was still allowed to attend school and practice with the team. After taking the time to develop his skills even further, he emerged in his sophomore year with an average of 17.8 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 3.4 assists per game. The team's record that season was 26-7. As a junior, Wade led Marquette to the school's first Conference USA championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament's Final Four for the first time since 1977. He averaged 21.5 points per game as the team's lead scorer. In the 2003 NCAA Midwest Regional Final, Wade recorded the 4th triple-double in NCAA tournament history. His 29 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists against the top-seeded Kentucky Wildcats were publicized by the national press. Wade was even chosen as the MVP of the Midwest Regional Final. Unfortunately, his success ended in the Final Four with a 94-61 loss to the Kansas Jayhawks. Wade was selected 5th in the 2003 NBA draft after a successful season at the University of Marquette. He was immediately a top player for the Heat. The Heat started the season 5-15, but with Wade's help, the team finished the season 42-40. The Heat even made the second round of the playoffs before falling to the Pacers. In the playoffs, Wade hit a game-winning jumper to help the Heat win 81-79 in his first playoff game. The Heat defeated the New Orleans Hornets in 7 games. At the time, he became the 4th rookie in NBA history to lead his team in points and assists during the postseason. In just his second year, Wade averaged 24.5 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.6 steals, and 1.1 blocks. Wade filled the stat sheet across the board at just 23 years old and in his second season. At the same time, the Miami Heat wasted no time building around the young Wade. July 14, 2004, coming off of a season averaging 21 points and 12 rebounds, Shaquille O'Neal would be traded to the Miami Heat. Dwyane Wade made his first All-Star team as the Miami Heat finished the season with 59 wins. In only his second NBA season, Wade had been selected to the All-Star team, All-Defensive Second Team, and an All-NBA Second Team. Wade averaged over 26 points per game in the first round of the playoffs as the Heat swept the Nets. In the second round, he averaged over 30 points as the Heat won 4 more straight against the Wizards. That set up a match with the defending NBA champion Detroit Pistons, who the Heat took to 7 games before losing. Wade battled through the flu, a knee strain, and a strained rib muscle. If Wade had been healthy, the Heat would have likely won the championship that year. In his third season, Wade upped his averages to 27 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Once again, Wade made the All-Star and All-NBA second team. Wade suffered a hip injury in the first round of the playoffs against the Bulls, but the injury didn't hamper him in the second round against the Pistons. Despite playing with flu-like symptoms, Wade led the Heat past the Pistons in Game 6. In the NBA Finals, the Heat trailed the Mavericks 2-0. He followed that with point totals of 42, 36, and 43 to take a 3-2 series lead. In Game 6, Wade scored 36 points to lead the Heat to their first title in team history. Wade won Finals MVP by averaging 34.7 points per game, which was the third highest among any player playing in the Finals in their first Finals. Many criticize Wade for the number of free throws he shot during the Finals, but free throws are part of the game, and the Dallas Mavericks were known for not being able to contain skilled guards. As far as the narrative that Wade had a prime Shaq on his team, 33-year-old Shaq averaged just under 14 points and 10 rebounds in the series, shooting 30% from the line. Wade finished his third season as an All-Star, All-NBA second team, and an NBA Finals MVP. Despite missing 31 games, Wade was elected to his third All-Star game. The Heat struggled with Wade missing time. The Heat were 5 games under 500 at the All-Star break. Despite the struggles, the Heat was able to make the playoffs with hopes of defending their title. The Heat's reign didn't last long. The Chicago Bulls swept the Heat in the first round of the playoffs. After the playoffs, Wade had surgery to repair a dislocated shoulder and left knee. The injury prevented him from joining USA Basketball during the summer to participate in summer qualifiers. Wade's injuries carried on into the next season. The Heat held the worst record in the NBA at the All-Star break, but Wade was still elected to make the All-Star game. Wade averaged a solid stat line for the season, but he missed the final 21 games to undergo treatment for his injuries. Wade was able to rehab and return to USA Basketball. He helped the national team win gold at the 2008 Olympics, dropping 27 points in the final game against Spain. The 2009 season was probably his best season yet. After struggling with injuries for the past 2 years, Wade would come out on fire. The Heat were back to being a solid team again. Wade also led the league in scoring to win his first and only scoring title. Early in the season, he recorded 40 points, 10 assists, and 5 blocks in one game. It was the first time since 1977 that a player had recorded a line like that. For his efforts, he made his 5th straight All-Star game. After the break, Wade recorded his first 50-point game in a loss to the Magic. He recorded 24 points in a quarter to secure a win over the Knicks. At another point in the season, he became the only player in Heat history to record multiple games of 30 points or more and 15 or more assists. He became the only player under 6'5" to reach 2,000 points, 500 assists, 150 steals, and 100 blocks in a single season. In the 2010 season, Wade had another great year individually, averaging 26.6 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.7 steals, and 1.3 blocks per game. A calf injury forced Wade to snap a streak of 148 consecutive games. The Heat made the playoffs with the number 5 seed. In the first round, the Heat trailed 0-3 to the Celtics, but Wade helped the team avoid the sweep. He scored a franchise record 46 points and outscored the Celtics in the fourth quarter. The Celtics won the next game and the Heat was eliminated, but it set up one of the most iconic summers in NBA history. In the offseason, the Heat was able to lure both LeBron James and Chris Bosh to Miami to make one of the most iconic big threes in league history. In the first year, the Heat won 58 games and earned the number 2 seed. In the playoffs, the Heat beat the 76ers in the first round. Then, the team got revenge on the Celtics in the second round, where Wade led the team in scoring with 30 points per game. In the conference finals, the Heat proved to the league who the best team in the East was by defeating the Bulls. In the finals, the Heat lost to the Mavericks in 6 games. Wade averaged 24.5 points, 7.1 rebounds, and 4.4 assists for the entire playoffs. It took until the second year of the Big Three for the Heat to win a title, but it finally happened. As for Wade, he posted the 3rd triple-double in All-Star Game history, joining Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Wade hit multiple game-winning shots and looked like one of the top players in the league as the Heat cruised into the playoffs. The Heat beat the Knicks and Pacers in the first 2 rounds. It set up another matchup with the Celtics in the conference finals. James and Wade ended the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen era with a 7-game series win. In the finals, Wade averaged 22.6 points as the Heat defeated Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and the Oklahoma City Thunder in 5 games. Before the 2013 season began, Wade underwent surgery on his left knee. It forced him to miss the Summer Olympics, but he was able to make a healthy recovery for the start of the season. Wade enjoyed a successful season that saw him make the All-Star Game and All-NBA third team. The Heat finished the regular season with the best record in the Eastern Conference. The Heat marched to the NBA Finals to play the San Antonio Spurs. The series remains iconic as the two teams battled each other for 7 games. It featured some great moments, such as Wade scoring a double-double in Game 5, as well as 14 points in the Game 6 overtime to help avoid elimination. In the end, the Heat repeated as champs. In the final season of the Big Three era, Wade missed 28 games due to injuries. When he returned, the Heat decided to bench him in games that were back-to-back due to rest. It wasn't until playoffs that Wade saw an increase in minutes, but he did make the All-Star game in the regular season. In the playoffs, the Heat was able to beat the Pacers in the conference finals again. This time, it was in 6 games as the Heat made their 4th straight finals. However, the Spurs got their revenge by winning in 5 games. With that said, Wade had one of the best playoffs, shooting 52% from the field, which was his best shooting percentage in 4 years. Fast forward to Wade's final season, after years of injuries and bouncing to different teams. In the offseason, Wade made it public that he intended to retire at the end of the season. He resigned from the Heat to end his career where it all started. He missed 7 games due to the birth of his daughter, but made it back in late November. Wade set a Heat record by scoring 35 points off the bench. He also recorded his 1,000th career game as a Heat player. In January, he became the 3rd player in NBA history to record 20,000 points, 5,000 assists, 4,000 rebounds, 1,500 steals, 800 blocks, and 500 three-pointers. He was rewarded with being a special roster addition at the All-Star Game. He had received the 2nd most fan votes for guards despite his stat line. In his final game, he recorded a triple-double after playing his final game at home. Wade retired as a 3-time NBA champion, 1-time Finals MVP, 13-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA First Team, 3-time All-NBA Second Team, 3 times All-NBA Third Team, 3-time All-Defensive Second Team, 1-time Scoring Champion, and an All-Rookie First Team. At 6'4", Wade achieved something collectively that only Michael Jordan and LeBron James had done at the time, with at least 20,000 points, 5,000 assists, 4,000 rebounds, 1,500 steals, 800 blocks, and 500 three-pointers in his career. He could play point guard and shooting guard and defend 3 positions. He's regarded as the best slasher among guards we have ever seen. Wade's defense was also very underrated. As mentioned, he holds the NBA record for blocks by a player listed under his current height. He was a champion, all-star, and will be a first-ballot Hall of Famer when his time comes.